In this tutorial, we will look at deploying a simple Go app using Google Cloud Run. To use Cloud Run, we need to provide a stateless Docker container. Inside that container, a server is listening for HTTP traffic. This is one of the easiest ways to deploy a server in the cloud. When your code is deployed on Google Cloud Run, it can accept incoming HTTP traffic or web traffic. But in the absence of traffic, your project will scale to zero and you won't have any cost. This makes it ideal for hobby projects. And now let's have a look at our example app. It only provides one endpoint, which simply returns the string "Hello World." One thing that is special about Google Cloud Run is the environment variable port. You need to make sure that your server listens for traffic on the port that is indicated by this variable. So we cannot hardcode a value here. And as you can see in line 21, we're using the variable to dynamically set the port on which our server listens. Also, you should be aware that this app lacks some crucial features that you would need for a real production environment. Things like logging, rate limiting, and request IDs. We will get to those things in a separate video. This is only to demonstrate the deployment. Next up is building the Docker image. I'm going to be using this Docker file. It has two stages, build and run. The benefit of separating the build and the run stage is that the final image size will be much smaller. If we would build everything in one stage, the image would end up to be pretty big and it would take a long time to upload. But overall, this is a pretty standard Docker image for Go apps. In line 11, we're building the executable, and in line 15 we're copying it over to the run stage. Finally, in line 16 we're setting the command to run the executable. And keep in mind to turn off cgo by setting an environment variable as I'm doing in line 7. This will make our executable work on Alpine Linux, which is what our run stage is based on. Before we can build and push the image, we need to clarify one more thing, and that is the name and format of the tag that we will be using for tagging our image. And because we're using Google Cloud, we also want to use the Google Cloud registry. A registry is a place where the Docker image will be pushed to and where other services can pull it from. Here in the documentation for Google Cloud you can see the expected format of the tag. It consists of hostname, project ID and image name. The host name depends on your geographical requirements. You can see some recommendations in this text. The project ID can be looked up in the Cloud Console, and finally the image name can be chosen freely. And now that we have clarified the tag name, we can move back to the terminal and build the image. In this example, I'm using the European Cloud Registry host, and I'm grabbing the project ID from the Cloud Console. For the image ID, I'm just going to use example app. And don't forget the final dot to indicate that you're using the current directory with the current Docker file to build the image. Then hit enter and the build process starts. And now that this is complete, we have built and tagged the image. So let's push it to the registry using the tag we just created. Having pushed our image, we can head over to the container registry, hit refresh and find the image there. With our image in the registry, we can head over to Cloud Run and start creating the deployment. Again, we need to choose a region that best matches our geographical location or requirements. And after defining a service name, I'm choosing to allow unauthenticated invocations. This makes my server accessible from the public internet. If you're creating an internal service, you should rather require authentication for it. On the next page, select the image and hit Create. After a short while, your service will be deployed and your server is accessible via a URL. Here we are a few minutes later, and when we visit that URL, we should see Hello World, which we do. So this proves our deployment is working.